Hi, everybody. My name is Theresa Wyatt Prebilsky, author of the St. Francis Prayer Discovery Journal, 12 Prayers for Personal Peace. Many of us were able to be together this morning in a Zoom session to talk about the different ways that we can enter meditation using the St. Francis Prayer. For those of you who were with us, I hope to see you again in our next session, which is Saturday, January the 7th at 10 a.m. For those of you who may be receiving this email but have not attended the first session, no problem. Feel free to join us on the 7th, and if you need more information, just reach out to me. Again, my name is Theresa Wyatt Prebilsky. I hope to see you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye. Hi, y'all. As many of you know and have had experiences with St. Francis Prayer, it's much beloved, excuse me, and practiced in several traditions and religions. I don't know why I have a frog. And in the journal, in the Discovery Journal, I used a version that I became comfortable with about 30 years ago in 12-step recovery. But as I said, many people have connected with it. It is attributed to St. Francis of Assisi, and actually it is thought to not have been written by him. He was born in the 1100s, so thinking it goes way back then is one thought, but it is actually more accepted that it has been written by a French cleric in 1912, just before the World Wars. And as it was distributed in a French publication, it gained much popularity as it was a prayer. Oh, someone brought me some water. Thank you, honey. It was highly thought of as a prayer for peace for those wartime, and it's carried on since. What I want to share with you all about whatever version you use in this practice, it translates. All versions translate. So in this practice, if you're wanting to use your own version that you are comfortable with, feels particularly sacred, that's great, because the Spirit transcends all translation. So just know that works. My relationship began, as I said, in my early recovery days, in finding the St. Francis Prayer in our 11th step. And then again, it became very personal when about 2 years ago, I felt invited to bring it into my morning time meditation. And it happened to be in the 12 days of Christmas, which actually is between this period now and Epiphany. So I just journeyed through the prayer over those 12 days. And by the end of that 12 days, I noticed a new relationship with the prayer. And I noticed a more, I'm going to call it authentic connection with the words. And one big aha for me was I felt the prayer was asking me to pray for my own personal peace. And that was pretty amazing to me. The next thing, the other thing I discovered in that personal experience in my meditation was I discovered there were what I call 12 prayers within the St. Francis Prayer, which can kind of neatly fall into 12 meditations. And that is how they are suggested in the Discovery Journal. What I want to say about that is whether you practice this in 12 days, 12 weeks, 12 months, it does not matter how long it takes, or even if you complete going through the prayer in this practice. I have a dear friend who's here now who discovered in her practice when she entered the first meditation, she wasn't ready to go to the second meditation. And she listened, I believe, and responded to her soul's call to stay and hang out in that first meditation. And that is, I think, it's very important to me to remember that the speed of the meditation or the accomplishment is not where it's at, and to listen to the rhythm and respond to the timing of our soul. So in this particular practice, when you do it, how long it takes you to do it doesn't matter. But I will suggest that I believe there is a logic to the sequence of the prayers. And one of the things you may notice in the book, let me pull this up. Okay. On page 16, there is a handy dandy little chart, 12 prayers for peace. And you'll see that there are, and I think it's also on the screen too, so if you don't want to fumble with the book or worry about that. What I kind of discovered over going through the entire prayer was that I felt the prayers really were kind of grouped in three sections. The first 1 through 8 being responsive prayers, the next section being character building prayers or proactive prayers, and then the last section of our prayer being the how-to prayers. So that's something that came forward for me, but you don't really need to worry about this chart or what worked for me or understanding. I think it will either become something that you connect with as you go through the process, but that's just a heads up of what that's about. So let's talk a little bit about the first meditation, and that begins on page 22 and 23. Okay. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk very briefly about how to enter this meditation using the Discovery Journal. Then we'll have, I'd love to hear if you have any questions or concerns before we go to a 20-minute quiet time. And then we'll come back and share and be with one another. So as you can see on page 22 and 23, it's the first of the 12 meditations. Each meditation is basically set up the same way. You'll enter the prayer, you'll write a portion of the prayer, and then there are a few prompts for stepping into that part of the prayer, and then pages that are available for your own reflection and your own prayers to come forward. And then at the end of the section, there is a brief note about some of the experiences I had in this section. I purposely put that note at the end of that meditation. That's what happened for me. The beauty is what comes forward for you in your own time. So for the first meditation, what you'll do is you'll write out in your journal or here in the Discovery Journal the St. Francis prayer in its entirety. And then you'll write out just the first prayer, which I designate as, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is love, that where there's hatred, I may bring love. And that's where you begin your quiet time. What I notice is that when I record the prayer in my own journal, I have an opportunity to be more engaged in the prayer as my prayer. It brings a stronger connection that this is my prayer. For every one of us, we have different ways of connecting in our contemplative practice. So for some, this may not be as inviting. For others, you may find it is. And then there will be a few prompts that might prime the pump to look at the prayer as it hits you and as it connects with your soul today. So that is how that works. So I guess I'd like to ask, does that make sense to everyone? Are there any questions, concerns? If so, please just unmute and let me know.
Hey, Theresa, I
Emily.
am Emily, yeah. And I'm wondering, I don't have the, oh, yes? Does it not sound? You can't hear me?
I don't hear you.
Everybody else can hear me? Maybe Les, you can just tell her.
I don't hear her. Oh, my speaker's not on.
Is it?
Hold
Oh,
on.
never mind.
Emily,
Yes.
would you mind saying
Can you
whatever
hear
you
me?
said again? I didn't turn my speakers on.
No, no worries. So I have not received the journal yet.
Mhm.
Yours. So I'm wondering if you might be able to put the prompts up somehow, maybe even
Yes.
in just in the chat. If it's not too if there's too much verbiage, then it's okay. I didn't know whether.
You know, I think I will
But
be able to put that up on the share screen. Let me, in our 20 minutes, I might be able to put that up. So I wanted to
I would
mention,
love that.
good,
If not,
thank
no
you.
worries.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem. And I wanted to mention that if you don't have the Discovery Journal, the process is the same. So you just begin writing in the first meditation, the whole prayer, and then you write out the first prayer, whatever that version of yours, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, which, you know, it's just a lovely invitation. Anyone else? Okay. Well, welcome all. And I'm just going to be in my 20 minutes. I will be joining you too, because what I have found, this prayer brings new things every time I come to it. So don't worry about the time. We're going to have 20 minutes. I'll let you know when it's time to come back, and then we'll visit. Love you all, and have a great meditation with this prayer.